our hosts and our organizers, and appreciate so much of them helping us to remember. We forget things all the time, and we need to remember the sacrifice of Dr. King and others whose names we don't know. And so we're here today to honor him, to honor them. But thank you so much for being here. Of course, if you do not have a church home, we meet every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and we're done by about 11:15. I don't preach very long. And if you do have a church home, come and be our guest sometimes. So thank you so much again for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Minister Jimmy Hurd. Since I can't sing, it's tradition in the Black community, I'd like to have everybody stand so we can sing, lift every voice and sing. Is there one singer in the house? Chandler, you want the microphone? They kicked me out of the Mount Zion Youth Choir, so I know I can't.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio's broadcast of the 56th anniversary assassination of Dr. King. This is the 6th annual Day of Remembrance award ceremony. Right now, the Black national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. We are here live at the 6th Annual Day of Remembrance Award Ceremony, the 56th anniversary of the assassination of
Reverend Dr. Harriet Walden.
We're going to go here again live.
Good evening. Again, as we bow our heads
Harriet
in gratitude and thanksgiving today, we're thankful that we're thankful for Martin Luther King, for his parents, and all who raised him. We're grateful for what he did for us. And we want to always remember the people who came before us and with us, who also saw something in us and knew that we were always worthy. We were always worthy of good treatment, and to know that we were also part of the family of God. And so we're gathered here today to actually remember Dr. King, to remember what he did and how it keeps going on. And we're so grateful for the organizing committee, for Holgate Church and its generosity. And as we remember Dr. King tonight, let us leave here inspired to know that our work is not done. There's forces out there who does not want us to be here, but God says we have a right to be here, and we're standing here on the promise that we have a right to be here. We have a right to live and to breathe this air and to be prosperous. And we're so grateful. We always give God the praise, and we thank him in his son's name, in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Harriet Walden. So Chardonnay, I want you to introduce this award recipient and the presenter. And we're going to start with awards while we await our keynote speaker. So,
Well, first we should introduce ourselves. My name is Chardonnay Beaver. This is Mr. Eddie Rye Jr., who needs no introduction. So glad everyone made it out safe and sound for this momentous occasion. We are just going to give honor where honor is due today. So first and foremost, we want to give an honor to a trailblazer. This is our Trailblazer Award for Thelma DeWitty, the Trailblazer Award. And this goes to Representative Sharon Tomiko Santos. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. She's presenting it, but it could go to her.
Thelma DeWitty was the first Black school teacher in Seattle. So that's why that's important. Go ahead, Sharon Tomiko Santos.
Well, thank you so much, Eddie and Chardonnay. It is an honor to be here with all of you for this important day when we not only remember and honor a great man who left us too soon, but we honor and recognize people who have followed in that great man's footsteps. And it is my distinct pleasure to offer the Thelma DeWitty Trailblazer Award to one such woman. I'd like to introduce, first of all, the award name, the Thelma DeWitty, so that you know why it's such a privilege for me to pass this and present this honor. Many of you know Thelma DeWitty was the first Black teacher to be hired by the Seattle Public Schools. She had been a teacher in Corpus Christi, Texas, and she began her teaching career in Seattle in September 1947 after the Seattle Urban League intervened on her behalf, along with the NAACP, the Civic Unity Committee, and Christian Friends for Racial Equality. Her first assignment was at Cooper Elementary School, which is a school that is still operating in the Seattle Public Schools. And she later recalled that white teachers, when they were told that a Black teacher was coming, some of them expressed some discomfort, and they were told that they could transfer. In fact, during her first year, a parent did ask for their child to be removed from Mrs. DeWitty's classroom, but the principal denied that. She eventually went on to teach at multiple schools in Seattle Public Schools, including Sandpoint, John Hay, and Laurelhurst Elementary Schools, and she ultimately retired in 1973 from Meany Junior High School. She was active in this community. She had been a key member of the Seattle branch of the NAACP, serving as its president in the late 1950s. I will just remind you again, we are talking about a woman serving as the president of a major civil rights organization. She also served on the State Board Against Discrimination and the Board of Theater Supervisors for Seattle and King County. She was a trailblazer. She was a woman ahead of her time, and it gives me great pleasure to ask another woman who is well ahead of her time to come forward while I share with you a little bit about Loria Yeadon, excuse me. Loria Yeadon, please come forward. I want to introduce you to the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Seattle. Every day, she was telling me earlier, her why for getting up is because we know that the boys and girls of our communities need us, need adults to be with them, to stand beside them, to support them now more than ever. And Loria Yeadon does that each and every day, even when we cannot. But here's why she is so deserving of this award. She is the first woman president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Seattle. Does that deserve applause? But that's not it. There's more. She is the first woman, she's the first person of color to be the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Seattle. Now, for that, we need to stand up and really give her applause. That's right. I am going to, you can read about her bio in here. I will say she serves on the board of Lade Norton company. That's a big deal. We're talking, she is a board of director member for a major company in Washington State. But when I was first told about Mrs. Yeadon, I was told by our good friend Eddie Rye. And he said, you know, I sit in front of this woman at church every Sunday. And I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her accomplishments. I didn't know what a big deal she is in the Greater Seattle area, because she is so humble and she just focuses on doing her job. And if any of you have studied the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and his life, you will remember one of his many wonderful quotes. But one of the things that I will always remember that is meaningful to me is he said, anyone can be a leader because everyone can serve. And this is a woman who epitomizes that saying of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And so on this day, when we are remembering him and what he would ask of us, and in the name of another trailblazing woman, Mrs. Thelma DeWitty, it gives me great pleasure to give you Loria Yeadon. Let me do this. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. That is so humbling. I can't even tell you. First, if you don't mind, I'd ask you to join me in recognizing Thelma DeWitty. I really think it's true that we stand on the shoulders of people who've come before us. And Thelma is one of those giants. You know, it's interesting. I was at a conference a few months ago speaking, and someone shared that I was the first woman and first person of color leading the YMCA of Greater Seattle. And there was someone who stood up in the audience to say, why is that a big deal? No, this is a true story. I'm going to get to a point. It's an important one. And why we have to make such a big deal out of that. You're in this role, that's great, but being the first shouldn't be such a big deal. And I kind of agreed. I said, but what it does say, and if you've been the first in a role, you know what that really means. Often it's not something, I'll put it this way. She who wears the crown bears the crown. So when you are blazing trails and when you're trying to hold doors open for the next person, as Thelma did, right? You appreciate that it's not about you. It's about what you're called here to do. And it's about the doors that the universe is holding open so that all the things that need to be done for our people can happen. And so that's why I do celebrate being in this role, because what I've been called to do, chosen to do, and to be in this community. I want to also acknowledge the board of directors for the YMCA who made the choice to entrusted me with this role. I'm so appreciative of the staff who get up every day to do the hard work, men and women from all walks of life who come to serve, who come to create a welcoming place of belonging for everyone, people who believe in equity and justice for all. To have the opportunity to lead an organization that truly stands for that across this community, I could not be more grateful. Just like I'm grateful to each of you for being here this evening, and I'm so grateful to the committee who made this decision to present me with this award. So thank you all, and I'll end there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Can we give her a round of applause again, please? Now, I think both women would have made a great candidate for the award. I'm just going to say that. Then I know I butchered that. So we're going to move forward into our next award presenter. This is the A. Philip Randolph Uniting Workers Award. So we're going to present Mr. Claude Perfect with the MKL Labor Executive Committee. And Kevin, there we go. Round of applause, please.
What's that?
Well, greetings, everyone. I'm Kevin Allen, member of the Washington Federation of State Employees, Local 843. I'm a member of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists and also a member of the Seattle chapter of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. A. Philip Randolph, who this award is named after, led a 10-year drive to unionize millions of African-American workers and organized the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, where he served as the organization's first president. Randolph was considered the true father of the civil rights movement in 1968. He chaired the 1963 March on Washington, where Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Randolph was also the vice president of the newly merged AFL-CIO in 1955. And in 1968, the A. Philip Randolph Institute was established to promote Black trade unionism in the community. He continued to serve on the AFL-CIO Executive Council until 1974. And our awardee, which Claude will speak more about her bio, Katie Garrow, is the perfect person to do that because much like A. Philip Randolph opened a new generation of labor organizing then, Katie Garrow is leading the Martin Luther King Jr. Labor Council in the organizing of the new workforce of service workers, younger people, people like Starbucks and stuff like that. And so she's perfectly in line and recognizable for this award because of her leading us into the 21st century and beyond to the new level of workers' rights, workers' organizing, not only for organized workers, but for all workers. So I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Burfett to tell you a little bit more about Ms. Garrow.
My name is Claude Burfeck. I am also on the board of the MLK Labor. Katie Garrows is as Kevin indicated, Executive Secretary Treasurer. She leads that organization, and I'm proud to be a member of that organization, and I represent the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. Let me just say, when Katie came on board, I know the previous Executive Secretary Treasurer, and I had a little dispute, and so she decided that, well, let me get Katie on board because she was the Deputy Secretary Treasurer. Katie and I met at Starbucks in Columbia City, and we sat and had a little conversation, and from that day, Katie became one of my favorite people. When we talked about who we would like to see as a labor person that deserved this award, my preference at that time was Katie Garrows. So I'd say Katie would be the one that I think is fitting for this award, and she should receive it. But a little bit further, let me go a little bit further. You know, Katie Garrows assumed the position of Executive Secretary Treasurer of the MLK Labor Council following her unanimous nomination in September and subsequent swearing in on November 17th. A member of the Labor Local 242, Garrows embarked on a 3-year term, bringing with her a wealth of experience from her previous role as Deputy Executive Secretary Treasurer, which is what I had indicated. In addition, Katie's election, Dustin Lambro, which is the president of the Seattle-Kane County Labor, and Stefan Maurice were re-elected as president and vice president, respectively, alongside the appointment of at-large board members and trade section representatives. Garrow's commitment to labor movement stems from her upbringing in Grays Harbor County, Washington, where she witnessed and challenges faced by the working class firsthand. With a background in union representation and community organizing, Garrows is dedicated to amplifying the voices of women, people of color, and LGBTQ individuals within the labor movement while striving to address the needs of the rural communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I will gladly bring forward here Katie Garrows to be recognized for her labor contribution.
Good evening. In our tradition in the labor movement, we greet each other as siblings, brothers, and sisters. So good evening, brothers, sisters, and siblings. It is such a humbling honor to receive an award in the name of A. Philip Randolph. He is a hero, a giant of the labor movement, much like Claude and Kevin. Elders of mine are brothers of mine who have helped raise me up in the labor movement. I've worked with unions and in the Seattle labor movement for close to 15 years and have been very grateful and honored to have been mentored by both of these great men and leaders. It's not lost on me that the labor movement has a sordid tradition as it relates to people of color and civil rights. There are good moments, moments of pride, moments like those led by A. Philip Randolph, and there's a lot of shame in our history. The labor movement at times was used to preserve white power and preserve benefits for white labor at the exclusion of people of color. And it was also used during the civil rights movement. Many unions supported the civil rights movement, including A. Philip Randolph and other leaders of unions. When in 2020, the mass uprising happened in response to the murder of George Floyd, I became curious about what white leaders were like during the civil rights movement, what white union leaders did, what their responses were. And I went back and looked into the history of George Meany, who was the president of the AFL-CIO, which is the mother organization of the organization I lead right now. And one of the things I found was that he did two things. One, he established a personal relationship with Martin Luther King Jr. And two, he tried to funnel resources to the March on Washington. And even when he couldn't get his own institution to back certain policies, he would work with individual unions like the UAW to get them to support resources for things like the March on Washington and other local efforts. So I say all of that to say that I am a recipient of that legacy and that privilege, and of both the good and the bad. MLK Labor is 136 years old as an institution. Our own records show that there were instances of boycotting Japanese restaurants back in 1938, and that there were also condemnations of the Holocaust and of the uprising of Nazis in Germany. And so both things can be true at the same time, and yet I know that the institution I lead has had racism as a foundational value. And so it is my work to understand how that still influences the structure and culture of the institution that I lead today. And that is why I've worked so hard to establish a group of diverse leaders as my executive board and to recruit diverse staff in our higher level leadership roles at MLK Labor. I am only the second woman to lead MLK Labor, but the organization has never had a POC leader. It is my, thank you. It is my hope that I am the last white leader of the organization, and I do believe that leadership should be transitioned. I don't believe that people should hold power for decades and decades, and I am actively working to make sure that the next person of color can come up behind me and be successful. So I'm not here to share my accolades, but I just wanted to be honest about both the burden and privilege that I know we carry as unions, as a labor movement. And I want you to know that I take that seriously, that I care about eradicating bigotry and eradicating prejudice and discrimination within our institutions and ensuring that they can be used for good, because that is what they should be used for. Unions can be the powerful force in society that can eliminate the racial wealth gap. They can eliminate the racial pay gap. They can eliminate the gender pay gap. There are places where people can go to find a glide path to the middle class who have otherwise been strapped by poverty. So thank you for the honor. It's, like I said, a very humbling privilege to even have my name associated with A. Philip Randolph. And thank you for listening to me and having me here tonight.
Thank you, Katie. And I just want everybody to know that Eddie Rice Sr., my father, was appointed to be one of the Northwest organizers for the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters in 1948, the only union a black man could belong to. And I also was with Tyree Scott. We closed down a whole bunch of construction jobs because there wasn't no brothers on the job or sisters. So I've been up close with the union on both sides.
The legacy is so rich here. Can we get another round of applause, please? Up next, we have Mr. Chandler Williams, who will be performing He Made a Way. Give another round of applause. We have a budding icon over here, okay? So, up next, we have the Edwin T. Pratt Community Leadership Award, presented by myself and Mr. Eddie Wright. So, I have the honor of sharing a bit about this awardee, Dr. Mike Tulee. Can we give a round of applause? So he is at the helm of the United Indians of All Tribes Foundation, leading efforts to strengthen tribal connection in Seattle. Under his guidance, the organization has expanded with the additions of a new 1,200 square foot canoe carving house at Lake Union Park. Give a round of applause. That's awesome. Yes. symbolizing a deeper embrace of tribal culture. Reflecting on the legacy of the UIATF founder Bernie White Bear, Dr. Tulee recalls a journey marked by admiration and inspiration. From early encounters with Bernie to pivotal roles within the organization, Dr. Tulee acknowledges the transformative influence that the UIATF has had on his career's trajectory. With the commitment to furthering the foundation's mission for the betterment of Indigenous communities, Dr. Tulee exudes confidence in the dedicated team driving the UIATFS program forward. Anticipating an array of impactful events ahead, including powwows, galas, Indigenous days, and holiday celebrations, Dr. Tulee invites all to join in the collective effort towards empowerment and cultural enrichment. Mr. Dr. Mike Tulee for the Edmund T. Pratt Community Leadership Award. Let's give him a round of applause.
Here you go. I want you to hold the award, sir. I want you to hold it like front, have it upside down. I'll try not to. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, hold it. Hold it. All right, thank you. Well deserved. I was with Bernie White Bear. I didn't get a chance to actually participate in the sit-in because I had a little sports car. Hair was out to here. And before I could get close to Fort Lawton, two police officers pulled me over. One of them knew my name and said, "You're not going in there, Eddie Rye." But anyway, I've been a supporter, a good friend of Bernie White Bear's, and it's an honor to have a relationship and a friendship with Dr. Mike Tulee. So Mike Tulee, here you go, sir.
It is a distinct honor to be here amongst all you wonderful people. It's just really makes me feel really very warm and very welcome. Beautiful church, beautiful people. I've thought about the theme of leadership being mentioned in even in the same sentence as Edwin and Martin Luther King Jr. Just something that's just very meaningful in my life. Yeah, I come from a very humble beginning, and Seattle has been my latest journey. I still got about 3 good years, and I'm going to retire. But I'll give it my solid 3 years. My association, or I should say, my uniqueness or my similarities with Edwin is that I was born the same year that he had taken over the Urban League, and we're both from Shoreline. So that's the similarity here. He obviously laid a lot of great path work with the Urban League as well as with camp. Very important organizations and programming for people of color. And those kind of things always make me think about how can I be a better person? What can I do to help society? I think about the four amigos quite often. I was fortunate enough to know all 4 of them. Seen all their great work, and I try to pattern myself after what I perceive as very powerful leadership. And I know I'm always studying, but I'm always a student of what can I do to better other people's lives, and how do I do it? What would Bernie do? What would Roberto do? What would Bob do? What would Larry do? Those are the kind of things that I think about quite frequently in given situations. And those are the things that give me a lot of inspiration to keep trying, because not every day is going to be a walk in the park, but it's always good to know that things get accomplished, and that's what's important in life. And I see a lot of goodness happening. There's a lot of challenges. I mean, even you look at today's political world, there's a lot of challenges. We all know that. But I think if we can just think along the more lines of things that Martin Luther King, how he had framed it. You don't get rid of darkness with darkness. You don't get rid of hatred with hatred. You do things because you really feel in your heart that you're doing something good for people. And in the end, you'll reach the promised land. April 3rd, 1968, he made this immortal speech. Just something that brings pause in my life. I was able to go to DC and stood at the exact spot that he made his speech. And I kind of wondered what that was like in 1963, that day where there were 200,000 people witnessing his immortal speech. Even today, it's probably one of the most famous speeches ever made in the history of the United States. It's always something that I think about regularly. It just, really makes me feel good to know that there's a lot of inspiration, such as those words, that brings to my life and the way I pattern myself in my leadership going forward. So anyway, 3 more years.
Congratulations, sir. Awesome, awesome. Are you guys still with us? Awesome. Just want to take a moment to acknowledge, I got that same opportunity to stand where Dr. King was, and it's breathtaking to think about how someone's dream can really manifest itself and compel others to participate in a legacy so rich beyond our lifetime. So whatever the promise is in your life, know that sometimes you may not see it come to pass, but it's the fact that you know the promise. Pass it forward. Amen. We are in church, y'all. Come on. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next award. I'm excited to share this one a bit more. We have the Washington State Senator John Henry Ryan Public Servant Award. And we have Ms. Lekha Fernandes, the Director of Office of Minority and Women's Business Enterprise, coming up to share more. Can we give a round of applause? Okay.
Before we go to Lekha, I want to say Bob Armstead, our president of the Washington chapter of the National Association of Minority Contractors, had back surgery. So he's following his doctor's orders and staying in for 2 more weeks. So anyway, I want to give you my friend Lekha. She gets a lot of heat in Olympia because she does the right thing. And it's amazing how much heat she's taken. But I let the governor, the attorney general, the rest of them know we have her back. Lekha. Hayward. Make sure it's not upside down. It'll be like Donald Trump. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much. This is an incredible honor to receive this award, but I have to tell you 2 stories. One of them is how I met Bob Armstead, and the second time I met Eddie Rye. Let's just say I met Eddie and Bob more in-depthly on Eddie Rye's radio show, and I did this radio show against the wishes of many, many individuals. They told me I was gonna get grilled, I was not gonna come out alive, I may come out in tears, but I wanted to go on this show anyway. And I wanted to go on this show because I wanted to be able to say the truth. Because when you tell people the truth, they're able to be honest with you. And so my work in advocacy, I can't do it without community. I just can't. Because if I can't have honest conversations with community members, they can't tell me what's really going on, and we can't make a difference in Olympia to help rectify the many, many harms and discriminatory practices that have happened in public contracting. So I'm only here because of people like Eddie and because of people like Bob, and because we can have honest conversations and we can really look up from underwater to see where we're going and where we want to be. Thank you. I just want to make one more comment. I'm wearing this t-shirt today, and I know you're probably like, girl, why are you wearing this t-shirt? This t-shirt, my friend Oakland, he was a Black man who never had the know-how. He never had the privileges I had in order to start a business, right? He didn't have somebody guiding him and helping him to do that. And Oakland went through some really tough times, but in the end, he was able to develop this business. And I lost Oakland because of COVID-19 and the struggles there. But the one cool thing about this story is that this business is thriving, is that his family won't be faced with the same struggles that he was faced with. There's opportunity in small businesses. There's opportunity to do better. So I just want to do an Oakland quote, if that's all right with y'all, and then I promise I'll be done. We are a group of culture makers creating quality brand merchandise to artistically express that we as individuals are leaders, rebuilding the ruins of our cities and culture. We are tailored for the good of all. We are committed to living woven in the fabric of our communities, contributing to the good. Thank you for letting me contribute to the good.
Thank you much. Give her a hand down. I told you she's the truth. They can't stand the truth. Plus, she's from Flint, Michigan. And she had a business. And guess what? They ran her out too. So she know all about it. So anyway, we're going to hear from Butch, and then we're going to do our last award, y'all. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Butch Harrison. Uh-oh. You got the whole band with him. Unless I do the Holy Ghost thing. There we go. Another hand for Chandler Williams and Butch Harrison. Thank y'all. Thank you. Now Chardonnay.
That was sweet. Got the clap going, feeling like a Sunday morning. Okay. Next up, our next award is the George Washington Bush Living Legacy Award. Woo! And we have the NAACP Washington, Oregon, and Alaska State Area of Conference, Shelley Seacrest. Yay! Right. As well as Ms. Carol Riley Payne, the Seattle King County NAACP former president. Woo!
This one, you all right? Okay.
Before we go, though, I just want to say something. Can we just give a round of applause for the incredible women who are blazing trails? What a remarkable, remarkable image for this generation, my generation. All right, now.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tulee Seacrest. I have the pleasure of serving as your regional president of the biggest, the baddest, the boldest, and oldest civil rights organization in the nation. I'm talking about the one, the only, NAACP. Yes. And I have the esteemed pleasure of making the Living Legacy Award. This is the George Washington Bush Award. And it's really founded upon the spirit of, I'll call it, lifting as you climb. See, George Washington Bush, he came from Missouri, settled in the Portland territories or the Oregon territories, but got chased out due to the lash laws. You heard about that? Come sundown, 6 months, if you're Black, you had to get lashes. But he found his way here to the Washington area. He settled out in Tumwater. I call it the lift as you climb because he knew he couldn't just get there by himself. You see, he didn't worry just about his family. He made certain that he brought other people with him. This Living Legacy Award, this George Washington Bush Award, it's honoring a woman who understands that concept of lifting as you climb. They say if you want to go get there fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go together. Carolyn Riley Payne, y'all, she understands that lift as you climb. Let me tell you a little bit about Miss Payne. Miss Payne, she joined the NAACP family when she was 14 years old. So blue and gold is in her blood. You hear me? And I'm going to ask you this. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Miss Payne served our family here in the Washington State area through the AXO program. Clap your hands if your child has ever been touched by the life and the loving hands of Miss Carolyn Riley Payne. Clap your hands. Let her see the love in her decades of service. Miss Payne, it is an honor to award this with you, to present this to you. You guys, please rise to your feet with a round of applause for the Living Legacy Award, George Washington Bush to Carolyn Riley Payne. Thank you. Thank you. Is this on in? Testing, oh yes. Thank you so very much. I'm humbled by this award. The Legacy Award is, wow, a big thing. And the contribution that Mr. George Bush made makes me even more humbler. Before I go on, I want to thank the MLK committee, my dear friend Eddie and my dear friend Haywood, and the entire committee for nominating me and then selecting me for this award of all awards. You see, you can't do anything by yourself. And I get all of these accolades, and I think, I didn't do this by myself. I have all of you. You stood up, and I thank you. But I have my pastor, I have my sisters, I have my family, and I have you, because you are family. We are family. We cannot do anything without each other. You see, Mr. Bush decided that he could not do it alone. He was a humble man, he was a good man, he was rich, and he was very generous. He built people up, and that's what this award does. I've spent my life doing that. My children, thank you. For allowing me to do everything for everybody else's children. As they often say, well, Mom, you're not home, we know where you are. I would be remiss if I did not say something about AXO, because if you know me, you know I'm AXO. AXO is the 9th through 12th grade program that builds our children up. We give them something in that program that they don't ordinarily get. Now you do it at home, but when they come to us, we show them something else. We show them a part of themselves that sometimes they don't even know they have. They reach heights that they didn't even know they could reach. But they come back. We have kids, Seattle, we should be proud. We have, I call them children, my children. Now their children are coming through the program, but we have people all over the world doing some fantastic, wonderful things. And because of that is why I continue to do what I do. I thank you so very much for this award. I will continue and try to continue to live up to Mr. Bush, and when I get rich, I won't forget you. But I also am so humble, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
As a matter of fact, my daughter Angela Rye was an AXO student. She was an AXO student. And there are a lot of successful students that came through that program under Carolyn Riley's Payne. She was a director of AXO for almost 40 years. That's a commitment. When they first started AXO, Lacey still had to come in to start it, but she didn't know she was going to finish it too, 40 years later. So at this time, I'd like to have the distinguished pastor of the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church out of Renton, Reverend Dr. Linda Mae Smith, give us our benediction.
I love how you say Linda Mae Smith. Before I do the benediction, I just want to say we're so grateful for those who do work of justice and for those who are trailblazers, and we know that there are so much more work to be done. And to Brother Eddie and the great committee, we're just grateful for your continuation. I feel like I'm a benefactor of the civil rights movement, so I know what it means to be able to continue to move forward in justice. So as we have gathered tonight, we do so in the spirit of love, in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and for the contributions he made to this society, this world. I'm reminded of his words, silence is a betrayal of our souls. And so when we are silent about issues that impact the lives of people, we betray our own soul. So let us continue, as the prophet Michael says, what does the Lord require of us? To love mercy, to do justice, and to walk humbly with our God. And so, my beloved friends, this evening, go forth in the power of justice and love and continue to touch and give life to those who do not have life, and continue to be reminded of who you are as a people of God. So may the grace of God and the peace of God be with you all as you leave this place, as you go forth in the power of the Spirit of the living God, as he continue to lift you up and rise us all up to the greater good that he has for us. And the people of God said, amen.
Now we want to give the pastor of Holgate Street Church of Christ, sitting in the back, Minister Jimmy Hurd, would you stand up so they can see you again? We want to thank that brother for opening up the church to us. Thank all of you for your time today. And congratulations to the people who were honored. And congratulations and thank you to my co-MC.
I'm going to have to snatch this. Before we do anything else, I just want to give a special round of applause, if we can take a moment to thank Mr. Eddie Wright Jr. and Hayward Evans, okay? I just want to say it, give people their flowers, right? These two men, my whole life, have been active in this community, okay? They have been unapologetic about what they believe, what they stand for, and I just want to take the time to do that. So, excuse me, it wasn't on the agenda.
That's all right, thank you. Could we have all the award recipients come up here with a shot for Playwright? Lekha, Miss Loria, Mike, Dr. Tulee, Katie Garrow. Okay, yeah, he's going to want to get a picture of all the award recipients.
My sad story is there was a back beer and around past me.
Now make sure you have them right side up, or be like Donald Trump. Have hold the Bible upside down. Okay. 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 Thank you, Butch, and thank you, Chandler. Chandler, you can go to McDonald's now, huh? No, you get a Philly mignon now. That's weird.
Appreciate y'all. Working for the interior department.
Is the other one here? Teaching here? Well, oh, and Wayne Luke, okay. I need her to come back and do something for us. I remind you, do you have your contact information? Right now, I can sign that. Okay. ¿Cuál planeta, baby?
Hello.
Some people have the Cloudburst Sex Award.
Hey, how you doing? Well, okay, yeah, okay. Can't mess around and find out, actually. I'm really interested, I'm really going to focus on these initiatives.
Yeah.
Because they try, you people want to jack us up if we ain't smart.
You don't want to be jacked up.
No. Because it's all the money that we should have more.
All of tonight's awardees right there taking a pic. Right after you got to see those sights of Chandler Williams on the keyboard. Getting some after shots of tonight's MLKCC's 56th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination, remembrance, and awards ceremony. Some of the closing conversations. As we get a look around the room, there's Eddie Rye passing through the screen. One of tonight's awardees right there.
And that you want a Triad membership. They will hook you up.
That, of course, is
They absolutely will.
Loria Yeadon,
Yeah, I don't want none of that. Used to be.
President and CEO of YMCA Greater Seattle.
No, we can fit because we can. Okay, we'd love to have you a part of us, take care of and then bring the whole family. So, sure.
This is Tony B. We are live at Holgate Church, and we have one of our award recipients here with us right now. Can you tell us who you are and the award that you received this evening?
Yes. Hi, I'm Loria Yeadon, and I'm the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Seattle. And I'm the proud recipient of the Thelma DeWitte Trailblazer Award.
You talked about being the first, and it's 2024, but tell us what that means to you and reflect on whatever the sentiment is that at this point, at this time, being the first is a wonderful achievement, but it seems like we're still trying to get ahead.
Oh, for sure. You know, it's always a powerful thing to be the first, but those who are the first, we're focused on making sure we're not the last. And we want to open doors for other people so other people can stand on our shoulders like we stood on shoulders of people like Thelma DeWitte. So for me, it's just another opportunity to serve and to take us all to even greater heights. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to serve community, to bring representation, and to help community. All of those things in combination.
Well, thank you so much. Any final words that you'd like to say to our audience on Rainier Avenue Radio?
Oh, boy. No, but thank you for radio. I go back to my roots. I started in radio. I had my own radio show years ago back in Virginia, and I understand how important this media is to get information out to community. So support radio. That's my message. And come to the Y. We'd love to have you. And have you come there to take care of your health with your whole family. Join us.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna, we're partnering with the YES program, environmental program.
Service Corps?
Yeah, we're doing an environmental justice week at Columbia City Theater, statewide.
Oh my God, I just got an email about this today from Parks and Recs.
Awesome.
Yes, and I sent it on to the head of our camping programs.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be doing some tables and inviting people.
Yeah, we're going to have panel discussions and workshops and everything, air quality, water quality, films. The goal for us is to try to let our community know that when we say environmental justice, it's more than just saving the trees, and there are things that impact you directly, which is why we should be more concerned and more aware of what we're doing.
For sure. Look, the health benefits of being in the great outdoors, we need it. And it's transformational. Everything from physical health, of course, for mental health, especially for our young people. So the Y just bought 2,100 acres of land in Morris County. And we encountered some barriers, but we stick steadfastly to our goal to build a camp there so that we can get more youth and families outdoors.
Wow.
It's important. I mean, we did it because we know how transformational that will be. Most of the camp capacity in our state is gone by the time underserved communities can register. We had half of our camp capacity gone in November of 2023 for summer of 2024. So building this new camp, we're hoping that we give everybody an opportunity to get into the great outdoors. So this is important work. So
thank you.
I've sent this off to my team.
Awesome. I forgot his name. I think his name might be Rick. Anyway, he's a gentleman. He goes to the schools. That's who we've connected with.
You may be connected with somebody in the social impact center.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure who that might be. I have 2,600 people,
I got
so I'm not sure. But I
Yeah.
will make sure this gets passed on
Okay.
with that email that I received from you. So, okay.
I'm Tony.
Tony, Loria, and my husband Josie. Okay.
Pleasure meeting both of you.
All right.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Okay.
We have no problem finding quality talent.
Yeah. Well, that's.
But part of our job is representation of diverse individuals.
I'm sorry. Can I ask you a couple questions? We're on Rainier Avenue. This is Tony B, and we are with another one of our awardees. Would you introduce yourself and then tell us about the award that you won this evening, that you were awarded this evening?
Definitely. Hello, my name is Lekha Fernandes, and I won the Washington State Senator John H. Ryan Public Service Award. And if you don't know about Senator John H. Ryan, he was the first African-American legislator here in the state of Washington. And the amazing thing was that he was from a majority white district, but he represented the people, and he represented them very, very well through advocacy.
And for you to win this award, why is this special for you?
This is special and humbling for me because in my job, I'm always thinking about what comes next and not really reflecting of the work we've done. And this, to me, shows a legacy not only of myself, but of the community and what we can accomplish when we partner and work together in advocacy for our common goal, which is to help eliminate barriers, discrimination, and discriminatory practices in public contracting.
And just the overall remembrance of the assassination of Dr. King. Why is that important that 56 years later we do this?
We do this 56 years later because we are still fighting for equity. We're still fighting for the ability to lead free lives. And so while we are living in Dr. King's legacy, we are still doing the work that is necessary in order to achieve those goals.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Is there a final word that you want to say to our audience watching right now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world?
Keep using your voices. Without your voices, we can't make changes that are necessary and required, not only for ourselves, but for future generations to come.
Thank you and congratulations.
I think that is Sharon Tamiko Santos right there, your representative.
Sharon? How you doing? Yes. Again, this is Tony B. We are live here at Holgate Church, the 56th Remembrance of Dr. King. We've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of awardees, and we're going to talk to, I believe, Sharon Tamiko Santos here very shortly.
She seems to be talking to one of the other awardees right there, Eddie Rye, next to her as well. There we go.
But
there's Sharon.
That's okay. Tell us why 56 years later, this remembrance is still important to do.
Oh my goodness. Because, I think this is one of the things that we heard throughout the different stories that people had to share, which is Dr. King brought all of us together, all of us under one big, beautiful, bold dream. And 56 years later, we are still striving towards that dream. And yet there are so many efforts to try and tear us apart one from another. And we can't allow that to happen. And that's why it's very important to stand up, especially on the day that the Reverend Dr. King was assassinated, to say, you can kill the man, but you will never, ever kill the dream.
Joining me again is Representative Sharon Tomiko Santos. Anything that you would like to say, in particular to those who may be younger, and the message of Dr. King in some instances has been co-opted or changed? Yeah, just anything that you would like to say to those who are further removed from that civil modern era of the civil rights movement and Dr. King's role in that.
First of all, I think it's really important that young people understand that they cannot give up hope. Dr. King lived for us to have hope. So don't ever give up hope. And when you start feeling like your hope is starting to erode, it's really important, I think, to then immerse yourself in Dr. King's words, not just listening to what other people are interpreting of Dr. King. Go find his speeches, they're online. Read what he said to young people, what he said to white people, what he said to the power base. This was a man who was not afraid to stand up to people who would otherwise tear him down. And he had choice words for those of us who want to try and uphold his legacy of standing up for what is our entitlement as well. And there's no substitute for what he was saying directly to us, even all of these many years later. They still ring true. That dream is still alive.
And I, of course, will give you the opportunity for any final words that you'd like to say to our listening and watching and listening audience right now. Washington State Representative Sharon Tomiko Santos.
Thank you. I would say that education is the key, and it doesn't always have to be about formal education. You live life and remember that no one can take away from you your education, however you come by it. No one can take away from you your personal integrity unless you allow them. And if we stand together, we can form the barricade that prevents anyone from taking away your education and your integrity. So just keep on having hope. And what I would add is, I hope that you will be engaged civically, politically, socially, get involved. As I said earlier during the awards presentation, one of the things I hold very deeply is that the Reverend Dr. King said, anyone can be a leader because everyone can serve.
Thank you very much. And I'll give you one of these. We are hosting a environmental justice week-long series of events, panel discussions, workshops.
Turn that up a little bit.
And yeah, it's going to be live at the Columbus City Theater and then also streamed as well. And really what I'm trying to do is take some of these environmental justice issues that impact our community directly and make people feel that this is huge. It's not just saving trees, it's air quality, it's water quality, it's transportation.
It is.
So that our community become more involved and engaged in this process.
Thank you. Thank you so much for what you do. I know it's a labor of love for you. It really is. But do know that those of us who are on the receiving end appreciate it and appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's a labor of love. People like you need to hear that.
Have you signed off, Mr. Bellis?
We are still on the air. For everybody who's still watching, You're looking at an empty building, except for 4 individuals.
I'm gonna switch that camera shot.
Yeah, we got this one right here. And someone's saying thank you as they exit out the door. We want to give them some. Oh, there we go. Yeah. And after these 2 leave, there will be 2 people left in the room.
We shut it down.
All right, I think that's enough. Let's thank you for everybody for listening.
We are the last. We shut it down again. Thank you for listening to the 56th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, the 6th annual Day of Remembrance Award ceremony. We're going to return to our regularly scheduled program on behalf of Mr. Daniel Bellis and Rainier Avenue Radio. It's me, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you are probably right. We're out. Peace.